It's Ernie again, and we are still going live at the after party for An American in Paris, brought to you by Theater Under the Stars right here at Artista at the Hobby Center. And you know what? There's just so many interesting people, we couldn't let them go by. Next guest, introduce yourself.
I'm Sean Kelly.
And why would we know Sean Kelly here in Houston?
Well, because I was with Houston Ballet for 15 years.
You never know who's going to be on a tour and coming back and visit. Sean, it's good to see you again. We actually did this years ago.
Absolutely.
So how did you go from Houston Ballet to being an American in Paris?
Well, it's been a really wonderful journey for me. I had such a great time in my years of experience with Houston Ballet, and then I decided, I think I'm want to take a little break from the classical career, and I'd always loved musical theater, and started pursuing it, and one thing led to another, and this is my fourth Broadway show. And
it's funny because you're saying the classical world, taking a little break from it, and now you're working on a show that is amazingly based in classical dance.
And you kind of keep in the business finding the shows that seem to fit, are a good fit for you, and this is a show that I think is very suited for all the experience I have, with the ballet.
So you said this is your fourth, so what were the other three?
I did Swing initially, a show called Swing.
Yeah.
Then I did Moving Out for many years, which was a Billy Joel Twyla Tharp project.
Right.
And then I did Billy Elliot, which is based on the movie, and primarily trained the boys that played Billy, and then American in Paris.
So now what are you doing on our show?
I'm the resident director for this production. So I started in New York as the associate choreographer, and helped with all the choreographic end of it, and then when the tour went out, they said, we'd like you to continue with that and also help with directing overall with the actors and just maintain the overall integrity of the production.
Talking about the choreography a little bit, I'm curious, the design of that, considering the period, the music, it's very I'm trying to find the right word, very straight, very accurate. Yes. And not softer, as you would think jazz might play with. Why that decision?
Interesting. I wasn't there at the original creation, so I don't know exactly where it stemmed from, but I know that the way the design of the show, using the panels, the idea of the reveal, the like closing and revealing, and having the actors do a lot of the transition and dance those transitions, was something that Christopher Wheeldon was very open to, and that was sort of his creative angle with the show that had not been done so much before. So I think that's one of the variety of aspects that make this show very unique.
Well, it's interesting because the dancers are so, to use the best, on point. Everyone is so exact.
Yeah.
We were talking a little earlier with a couple other folks from the cast and talking about the swings have to know so much, and it's not just stepping into a chorus role, because they've all got different dance steps, and it's kind of an amazing feat that you guys get this up on a stage every night.
It really is, and it's really complex for the swings, because not only do they do all the choreography, which is quite complex, Christopher always is very creative in his use of choreography, but the fact that they move all these panels, and half the times their transitions are blind, so you're behind a panel and you can't see in front of you, so you're guesstimating and using marks on the stage, and we laugh and say the stage is like a confetti, like someone threw confetti, because there's all these colored marks, and you have to hit the pink and gray mark and the panel 3 in line with the third leg, but half the time with the lighting you can't really see it, so you're desperately trying to be sure that all these transitions go smoothly and you arrive on the right mark. It's really stressful for them. They do an amazing job.
We're going to find out right now, because I think Laura's got a couple of the Laura's not even listening to us. Laura, we're ready. We're on. Are you ready? Laura's just over there chatting away now. Come on, come join us. Come join us. You guys are going to share this mic. We're going to share this one now.
Great.
There you go. We were just talking about how complicated it is with the transitions and so many markings on the floor and who goes where and what you step. And it's like he was saying, confetti out there.
Oh, yeah.
How do you hit your marks? How do you know where you're supposed to be? And do you ever get lost in the show?
It's, a ton of rehearsal and wonderful leadership.
Yeah.
Yeah, we trust our team wholeheartedly, thank goodness, because this is a crazy show with crazy spike marks and crazy choreography, and it does get a little crazy sometimes, Yeah.
Well, why don't you introduce yourselves to our viewers at home?
I'm Ryan Steele, and this evening I played Jerry Mulligan.
I'm Emily Ferranti, and I play Milo Davenport.
So what's the most challenging thing about either of your parts? What do you think? And I got to stop this broad gesturing. I'm like, we're at a party. I'm like, whatever. You two, talk to me now.
I would say Jerry is so physically demanding. the end of the show is this huge dance number that it's a ton of partnering, and it ends with this huge manege with crazy jumps around the stage, and it's there's a lot before that too. So you always have to keep that in the back of your mind that you still have that ahead of you. So it's so physically demanding.
Yeah.
I'd say that's the most challenging part.
Mine's not very physically demanding, but I love to play Milo. Obviously it's challenging, but it's really fun.
So, okay, you're on tour, you do this show night after night,
Yeah.
What is it that challenges you in that role? Why does it keep you coming to work each day?
Ooh, I love that. I think the relationship she has with Jerry is so complex, there's a whole other relationship happening behind the scenes that everyone doesn't really know about. So being able to convey that, and like the fact that time has passed and they've really grown fond of each other, and come into Act 2 with that is challenging at times, because we don't really have any book scenes that show that.
Yeah.
We just have this big Rhapsody ballet at the end that kind of says like, oh, time has passed. So for me, I guess that's kind of challenging sometimes. And with being on the road, we want to explore the city, and sometimes you're like, oh my gosh, I did too much today. Like, I'm exhausted and we have a show to do tonight, so you take a power
Okay, hold on a
nap.
second. I've heard, though, there's an awful lot of class also. You still have to do. You're classically trained dancers.
Mm-hmm.
You're still doing the same work that ballet dancers have to do.
So it's a fine line of keeping yourself in shape to do the show and not tiring yourself out too much for the show. You know what I mean? And we're all finding that. And yoga and ballet, Sean teaches ballet often, and we try to stay in our best shape that we can.
And I think, like, with Emily, like, she might say, oh, the show's not so taxing, but, like, I noticed her show is quite taxing vocally and acting and everything else, but she also is very regimented with taking care of herself. That's why she looks smoking in her dresses. I'm just saying.
I went biking around the
Yeah,
Buffalo
but, she's
Bayou.
always, like, any smart actor of her level will be out there taking great care. And then, of course, Ryan is always part of the thing that makes
He's let himself go.
Yeah, he's let himself go, is what I'm basically saying, yeah. He basically just says, is it cocktail hour? Is it cocktail hour? I keep saying, no, not till tonight.
Can't wait till I get to Houston. A lot of barbecue, eat late.
But I think everybody, because the caliber of the show, people are really regimented prior to work hours, So like Ryan's saying, and, just pacing yourself. But, so it's got its challenges as far as the overall maintenance of it.
Yeah.
So for you, is a traditional Broadway career track something that interests you, or is it because of the dance and the ability to keep the classical ballet alive for you?
So I trained mostly in dance growing up, actually only in dance growing up, heavily in ballet. And then when I was 18, I moved to New York and I was in the Broadway revival of West Side Story. So for the last 8 years, I've been on Broadway and working in musical theater. So that's kind of where I come from, whereas a lot of our company members come from a ballet company background. The theater is so special to me, and to be able to use my training in the ballet that I so loved as a kid and a teenager, and still continue to love. It's sort of a perfect hybrid for me, this show.
Is it hard to cast a show like this, though? Because because it is, for those who haven't seen, it is a ballet. It is very much a ballet show. And so you think, okay, some people have trained their whole lives to be ballet dancers, to be good at that art. They may not be the best actors, the best singers. And you've got to find someone who can do all of the above.
They have done extensive, the whole creative team has done extensive auditions over the years. And even in New York, where they would find someone who is really strong in a couple of traits and then say, we need to send you to acting class, or we need to send you to, vocal training, because for the Jerry and Lee's character, there was so much required of them. It's a very difficult show to cast. So it's special talents that you find, and And
Well,
I have to say with Ryan, I adore Emily, but I have to say with Ryan, he's one of those people that in the business, you talk to people and people say, you bring up someone's name and people say, oh, I love that person. And every person I talk to says, oh, Ryan Steele, you're going to love working with him. And I'm like, oh, I've worked with so many talented people. Everybody says that. And you work with him for an hour in the studio and you're like, he's remarkable, like truly a remarkable gentleman, so talented. He's just, so you'll see him in other touring shows moving forward. Yeah,
And so what's wrong with her?
Well, she's average, but
Well, I don't want to keep average, and I don't want to.
She arrived, Diva.
I don't want to keep average and sensational too long from their party, and our old Houston friend too long from the party. Go enjoy the party. Thank you all for putting up with us for a little bit more. Remember, Dreamgirls coming up on April 6th, and we'll probably be back right here doing the same thing with some of those cast members. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.